I left Windows after using my new MacBook Air for just 1 month, and honestly, I never thought this would happen. I originally was just going to try out the latest MacBook Air for a month when I went to travel in Turkey, and back home I would use my Windows desktop PC. However, when I came back home, I found myself struggling to go back to my desktop, which was the machine I used for everything from editing to gaming to tech work. And now I'm going to go through the 7 reasons why I cannot live without my MacBook Air. And you might want to stick around to the end because I'm going to tell you how you can try out the latest MacBook Air completely for free. That's what I did originally, and I ended up loving it so much that I stuck with it. Reason number 1, battery life. I cannot tell you how amazing the battery life is on this machine. So beforehand, when I was on the move, traveling or at school, I would use my 6-year-old HP Windows laptop, and that thing only lasted max 2 hours just on battery alone. Now my MacBook can last up to 12 hours of usage on a single charge. Just to give you a real life example, I went to school the other day and I used my laptop for around 6 hours, running heavy programs like DaVinci Resolve, Visual Studio, Docker, Firefox, and so much more. And these are all energy drainers, but I only lost around 38% of battery, which is absolutely insane. Like, I didn't even need to bring a charger with me to school, and that saves me more space in my backpack as well. And when I went to travel in Turkey for a month, I didn't even bring my 70-watt charger brick with me because you can also charge this laptop using USB-C and even portable banks. Now, obviously, I would bring my 70-watt charger if I knew I was going to use my MacBook Air all the time, but just having that option to carry something smaller and lighter makes a world of difference. Moving on to reason number 2, which is portability. This laptop is one of the lightest laptops on the market, and it's so small that it doesn't even have its own fan. Now the weight is only 1.24 kilograms or 2.7 pounds for my fellow Americans, and it's basically one of the lightest laptops on the market right now. And I really just love how portable it is because I can use this anywhere. I can use it on my lap, essentially on the train, when I'm traveling on the plane. And you might be thinking, well, sure, it's portable, but it's definitely not as powerful as a regular desktop or other high-end laptops, which actually leads me to my 3rd reason, and that's performance. This MacBook is an absolute machine. I can edit videos on this with essentially 0 lag, and I'm talking about DaVinci Resolve. If I want to use Premiere Pro, I can use that as well. Not to mention, I'm a computer science student in university, so I can run coding programs like Visual Studio and Docker, which usually take up a lot of resources and can lag your machine. But for the MacBook Air, I essentially have minimal to no lag at all. And the best part is I don't even have to have the laptop plugged in. I could use this anywhere I want on the go, and I essentially still get full performance. And whatever chip Tim Cook put in this MacBook is definitely holding down the fort. So I've used this MacBook for around 4 months now, and I've never once complained that it lagged too much or it was being too slow. Of course, occasionally if I have 10 programs open or editing with motion graphics, then yeah, of course, there might be some stutters. But for the regular everyday person doing simple editing, browser work, simple coding, you're not going to have any issues with this, and it will definitely not be too slow. Now moving on to reason number 4, the Apple ecosystem. Now, if you don't use an iPhone, you can go ahead and skip to the next point. However, I do have one, and it's just so seamless and efficient how my iPhone and MacBook can work together. For starters, I work with a lot of videos and pictures, so being able to transfer videos from my phone to my MacBook through AirDrop is super fast and super convenient. Last time when I was working on my Windows desktop computer, I had to use programs like Telegram, where I'd send a Telegram message to myself and then download it on my computer and vice versa. But now I can just AirDrop them essentially instantly. I also use iCloud, so I can have all my files on my MacBook backed up, and I never really have to worry about losing my MacBook when I'm traveling, or if someone steals it, or if I spill water on it. I know I can just get a new MacBook and all my files would reappear. Not to mention, I can view all my MacBook files on my iPhone. And that's super convenient when I'm outside and I need to look at school notes, school presentations. I can simply go to my phone, go to iCloud, and access my files from there. So no more waiting for me to get home. Now, by the way, make sure you stay until the very end, because the way I got to try this MacBook for completely free is something anyone can do. And honestly, it's probably the smartest way to see if switching is right for you. Now, reason number 5, convenience. It's really the small Apple features that make your life easier. So whenever I log into my account, I usually get OTPs or one-time passwords on my iPhone and I need to go and take my phone and type in the 6-digit PIN, for example, now when I get a message, it will show up on my MacBook and I don't need to grab my phone if it's too far away from me. And it's just something so small and simple, but just makes your life easier. Another super useful feature is I can copy something on my iPhone and paste it on my MacBook. Now this is super useful when I want to copy a link on my iPhone and open it up on my MacBook. And it also works the other way around. I can copy from my MacBook and paste it on my iPhone. Now reason number 6, instant on. This is one of the features I love so much because the MacBook is essentially like another iPhone or another iPad. When you want to use it, you just turn it on and you can use it instantly. However, back then on my Windows laptop, I had to wait about a minute for it to boot up. Then when I logged in, I had to wait for around 30 seconds to 1 minute for everything to load properly. Now, when I close my MacBook lid, if I ever want to use it within 5 seconds, I can just open it up, log in with my fingerprint, and its full performance is ready for me to utilize. I can open Firefox, I can open DaVinci Resolve, and it's just so much more efficient. And I remember reading when you want to do work or if there's something, a task you want to complete, one of the biggest key factors into you actually getting it done is being able to work on it within 20 seconds. So the fact that I can work on any videos, any schoolwork, any task I need to do just by opening my laptop and I can work on it instantly is such a game changer, really. Last but not least, reason number 7, 3 displays. So this one's a little bit more specific, but I can easily connect my laptop to 2 monitors and leave the lid open of my MacBook. And now I have 3 displays that I can work with. This is super useful for my workflow when I'm editing videos, when I'm coding, or just need to view multiple screens at a time. Being able to have the option to see 3 different screens is just amazing. More real estate means I can see more things. I don't always have to switch the apps. It's just super, super useful to have. And I just love how if I need to bring my laptop somewhere else, if I need to bring it to school, bring it to work, I can just disconnect it and I can work from anywhere in the world essentially. And I have all the same files, all the same folders. And the reason why this is such a pro for me is because I used to have a desktop and another laptop where it would be for more portable work. But now that I can essentially just use one machine, whether at home or outside my house, it's just super convenient, super efficient, and I just love it so much. So now moving on to the cons. So the only 2 things which are cons, which are not really cons to me, is that number 1, the switch going from Windows to Mac. It took me about a week to switch over and learn how to use Mac OS and the shortcuts. Now I'm really heavy into using keybinds. I used to play video games growing up like CSGO and Valorant. So using shortcuts for me is so important, especially since I edit videos. Just using shortcuts speeds up your workflow so much. But yeah, moving on to reason number 2 is I had to switch programs. So I used to use Premiere Pro on my desktop, and now that I went to Mac, I want to switch to DaVinci Resolve, which was free here. So it took me some time to change my keybinds and get used to the platform. But after around 2 to 3 weeks of using it, I'm really not complaining because I actually really like DaVinci Resolve now. It's just kind of like an all-in-one type of thing. So who would I recommend this MacBook Air to? Well, I would say I would recommend this laptop to anyone purely off of performance, battery, and convenience. And if you work with a lot of videos and have an iPhone, I would 100% recommend getting this. It makes editing and transfer videos so easy. This laptop is really probably one of the best bang for buck when it comes to laptops on the market. Now if you do very heavy effects and very heavy video editing, then I'll probably recommend the Pro. But if you're doing that type of work, I can imagine that you already know what you need to be doing. But for the average person, the MacBook Air is all you'll ever need. It really is. All right, so here's the thing I mentioned at the start, how you can try a MacBook for free. So I didn't know this at first, but Apple actually has a 14-day return policy where you can literally go to any Apple, buy the MacBook, and use it for 2 weeks. And if you don't like it, you can just return it. So that's exactly what I did because I was skeptical at first. I never thought I'd go to a MacBook. And I thought I'll just test it and probably return it. But after 2 weeks, I was hooked and I ended up keeping it. So essentially, you risk nothing if you want to see what the hype is about. Now, if you ever thought Macs are overpriced, try one for a week or two. You might not go back either. That's all I have for you today. Comment down below if you are Team Mac or Team Windows and let me know why. See you guys in the next one.